Hey YouTube family, friends, Rev It Up Car Fanatic Productions. I want to make this video in response to what happened to my daughter's car, and she would had not known it had not her check engine light came on a Friday. But anyway, I'll show you that video of why the check engine light came on. But first, I want to tell you, um, it was fate that check engine light came on. She took her car to Jiffy Lube on a Wednesday. She'd been going to Jiffy Lube for years to have her oil changed. And recently, Jiffy Lube fired um, all the employees they had out there. They were drinking, getting high on the job, and they accidentally shot one of the employees in the foot. They even got a new manager in there. So they got all new employees, new manager, and she took her car there for a oil service, and she gets 5W30 full synthetic oil, and I don't know why, but it cost her 80 something dollars even with a coupon. But after they changed the oil, she drove home. That was a Wednesday, and left the car. She parks on the grass. She didn't drive the car Thursday. On her way to work Friday, she called me, and my neighbor and I always go to IHOP on a Friday morning. She called and asked, "Pops, where you at?" I said, "I'm at IHOP." She said, "Well, my check engine light came on." I said, "Okay, where you at?" She told me where she was. I said, "Well, park the car in the driveway and take one of your mother's cars to work, and when I get home, I'll check it." So I'll show that video later, but meanwhile, after I checked it and figured out why the check engine light came on, there was a puddle of oil in my driveway. And I jacked the car up, and sure enough, there was oil leaking from the oil pan bolt. So they had stripped the oil pan bolt. So that's why oil was leaking out from down there. Now, there was no white thread sealant or no tamper-proof sealant stuff around the oil pan bolt when I jacked that car up to see why it was leaking oil. So I took the car back to Jiffy Lube, showed him it was leaking, and he said, "Well, I wasn't here the day the guy changed it." He said, "But we're under new management. You can ask anybody. I used to work at Auto World of Conway. I'll take care of all my customers." Well, none of that impressed me. So anyway, he took the car in and looked at it, comes back out to me. By the way, my time, my daughter, she gets off work and she comes down, and he looks at me and says, "Yeah, the fella didn't tighten the oil pan bolt up enough, so I torqued it to 40 foot-pounds, and she's fine now." And I said, 40 foot-pounds? You don't torque a aluminum oil pan down to 40 foot-pounds. And so he knew I knew what I was talking about. And he said, "Well, they had the wrong oil pan bolt." And I said, "No, that's the upgraded oil pan bolt. The old oil pan bolt had an inverted Torx, and it was 10 millimeter. This one here is a 1/2 inch bolt, and it's thicker. That's the upgraded one." So it's okay. So he knew I had him. So he said, we'll get you a new oil pan with the new upgraded oil pan bolt. So meanwhile, my daughter said, "Well, I'm not driving the car home. I'm scared to drive it." So I live right around the corner from here. So I brought the car back home, and I'm going to show you the videos of all this stuff. And what I find when I jack the car up, there is thread sealant around the oil pan bolt. So I drove the car back up there to him, and I asked him, I said, "So that's your answer, is throwing thread sealant around the oil pan bolt?" "Oh no, we always mark our cars with white paint, paint pen, to make sure the oil pan bolt is not tampered with." I said, "That's garbage. She's been having the oil change here for years, and never once was there no white paint pen or any thread sealant around there uh, to prevent somebody from tampering with it. And he says that's not thread sealing. I'm telling you, it's thread sealing. A white paint pen doesn't leave that mark. So they got the new oil pan, and they didn't even put the new oil pan on right. It leaked even more oil. So the car was there another couple of days. And I told them, if you don't have any mechanics here that's experienced enough to put an oil pan on, you need to send it up to GM. So none of them there are ASE certified. They're just people that hire off the street and teach them how to do oil, change oil. So it was supposed to go to Myrtle Beach Chevrolet to get the oil pan put on right, but the guy ended up doing it himself, and he put the oil pan back on with the new oil pan bolt, and there were no more leaks after that. But my thing is, to all you people who go to Jiffy Lube and these fast lube oil change places, even Walmart, they do not have ASE certified mechanics changing oil, and they get paid to change as much oil as possible. They want people in and out to make as much money as they possibly can. And some of them, they use their air guns to take off the oil pan bolt and tighten the oil pan bolt, and they strip them. I've known several people who had their oil changed at Walmart, and they made it down to the old Santee Cooper Bridge there, or waterway there, where they drained the swamp at. The engine shut off. Guess why? Because all the oil leaked out and the engine seized up. There was a elderly lady who lived in my neighborhood, had her oil changed at Walmart, and she noticed a puddle in her driveway. Next thing you know, her oil pan bolt is stripped. Now, if I would have left from there and he told me they torqued it to 40 foot-pounds and everything was fine, the next time my daughter would have went there to get her oil changed, they would have told her, we can't do it. Somebody tampered with this because it's got all this thread sealing around here. And then she would have been responsible for that. But me, being a mechanic, he couldn't fool me. I knew that was thread sealing. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the video of the oil leak, the oil pan bolt. After they did the change the oil and it was leaking from the oil pan, you won't see no thread sealant. You won't see no white pin or tamper-proof stuff underneath there until I go back and tell him it's leaking from the oil pan bolt. And then you'll see that white group up under there, which he never told me that he put that up under there. I had to confront him about that. And then after they put the new oil pan bolt in, there was no white paint pen or thread sealant around there. So I knew that was a bunch of garbage. So moral of the story, go to a dealership, go to Firestone, go to trusted people that are ASE certified, that know how to properly tighten an oil pan bolt. The oil pan bolt on that 2017 Chevy Malibu LT with the 1.5 liter 4-cylinder Ecotec engine is 18 foot-pounds. That's it. 18 foot-pounds. So from now on, my daughter's not going back to Jiffy Lube to get an oil change. And I don't understand how she's paying $80 to have an oil change when there are V8 trucks, Chevy Silverados with the 5.3, the GMC Sierra with the 5.3. Those things take 6 quarts of oil. They're $80 to change the oil. She got a 4-cylinder, which barely takes 5 quarts of oil if you're lucky. 4.2 or 4.8 quarts of oil is what it takes. She's being charged for a V8 cylinder. So you can get the oil from Walmart for about $22 and change. Get the oil filter for about $9. And you know, granted, some of you can't change the oil yourselves, but you can find somebody who knows how to change oil and charge you $10 or $20 just to change the oil. But that's a big ripoff. But no further ado, we'll go ahead and show you the oil draining. We'll show you the oil, the thread sealant that's around the oil filter afterwards. All right, God bless. Hey YouTube family, friends, Rev Car Fanatic Productions. I'm in my driveway and I have my daughter's car here. I noticed here, I just cleaned up oil about that much round. So this is probably about 6 inches wide by 3 inches. And I just parked in the driveway, and you zoom in, you see right there, oil is dripping. She just had an oil change at Jiffy Lube yesterday. So I'm going to look under here and see if they crushed the oil pan or crushed the oil pan gasket, or should I say the drain plug gasket, if they left it loose or if they tightened it too much. But you can see the oil leaking right there, and there it is coming from the oil pan bolt, and she never leaked oil before. So I don't know if they tightened it too tight or didn't tighten it enough. But I really don't want to mess with this. I want her to take it back down there. And it's coming from the oil pan bolt. Okay, here it is once again. Jiffy Lube bought the new oil pan. Look at the oil dripping. Watch it drip on the ground. See it dripping? Steady drip. There's oil all around the frame of the muffler. It's coming on the inside of the car through the vents where you have the AC on that, or the heat. It's dripping. Right here on the side of the pan. See that steady drip? They didn't put the oil bolt pan in right, or they didn't tighten the bolts up in the sequence that they're supposed to. Oil is all underneath the car. All on the frame of the car. This is not acceptable. Look at all that oil. That's a lot of oil to be dripping. So we're going right back to them.